So today we are here to celebrate the fall 2020 undergraduate graduates. And I consider it a complete honor that I get the opportunity to work with each and every one of you as you move through this last page in your undergraduate career. It's been great working with each of you, even during COVID. We've had a few other constraints on our meetings and time together, but I think it's worked out pretty well, and we've got a great show up on display with all of your works in it. So, that being said, the gallery is open until next Friday. Thank you. Until next Friday, the 20th, and we are open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Thursday, today and next Thursday, we will be open until 7 p.m. So if you haven't come by the gallery yet and you're wanting to, please come on by. If you want a personal virtual tour through the space, I'm happy to provide that as well. Just email me, reach out to me at the end of today's talk, and we'll set up a time to do that. A few other things are going on right now across the galleries. In the Terman Gallery is the digital student show, Becoming the Invisible Cities. That's currently on display until November 17th, and they are holding 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday hours as well. And then in Bear Montgomery, that's the small Rotunda Gallery in Fairbanks Hall, we have some works up by current students in Cassandra Cook's photography courses and Corey Crumb's painting courses. Those are on display. We just put those up 2 days ago. So definitely come by, check those out as well, see what students have been working on this semester. I'm going to remind everyone again to please stay muted. That's going to help a lot with some background noise. I will mute myself when others are speaking as well. If there's ever a chance that you can't hear me or something, just let me know, and we will try to get that figured out as quickly as possible. All right, so to get us started today, we have Benjamin Biggerstaff. Benjamin is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts with a graphic design concentration. And you'll see here we have an installation shot of his works on the wall as they hang here in the gallery. However, we understand that that's probably not the greatest way to experience his work. So I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to see some of each student's work up close, at least a little bit more up close and personal, as best as we can get through a screen. This is some of Benjamin's design work. Some State Farm business cards, some ad campaigns for a few different companies, and an ad campaign for Doctors Without Borders. Next up, we have Audrey Brickey. Audrey is also graduating with a Bachelor of Arts with a graphic design concentration. And Audrey is actually, she has been creating these games, these card games. They're really fun. They're very hard for us not to play them here in the gallery while we're working. But I assure you, Audrey, we keep our hands off of them. We make sure they're safe and sound. And you can see up close, the first game she's worked on is called Snowball Fight, as a card game. And if I'm remembering correctly, this is for sale. This is an actual game for sale in a local store, I believe. Audrey, I think you're on the call. If you want to drop in the chat where people can find this, that'd be great. Here's an up close image with some enlarged cards that are on display currently in the gallery for everyone to take a look at more personally. And then she's been working more recently towards a readaptation of this game called Tank Throwdown. And I'm really excited to see this one in its next rendition and starting to show up on gaming shops' shelves as well. Next, we have Jeffrey Brickey, and I know Jeffrey's on the call today, so Jeffrey, if you have anything to add, feel free to drop it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to as well. Jeffrey's graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with an intermediate concentration. So we actually have 2 videos. They are actually right behind me currently of his on display, as well as a print. And so we'll get an up-close image of the print that's on display, and that's right behind me. actually here in the gallery. And then here are some still images from one of his videos. This video, I believe, is called 360 Project. We didn't include the full videos in this presentation. However, if you want access to those, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure I can work with Jeffrey in order to share anything that you might want to see more of. Or of course, come by the gallery before next Friday and check it out in person. Here's another still from the 360 Project video. And I believe I've got one more from this video. Yes. And then his next video, which is here, and Jeffrey, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's called Robo Life. There we go, right behind us here. Here's another still. Yes, thank you, Jeffrey. And one more. These videos do have sound with them as well, so I definitely encourage you to reach out here in the gallery and see what they consist of. Jeffrey, that's totally fine. He says he's a tad busy with printmaking. I'm glad you are. You should be busy with printmaking. Good. Next up, we have Devon Clay. Devon is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Art Education. She's one of 4 this semester who will be graduating after next semester in the Art Education program. Next semester, they all will be doing their student teaching. And so they showcase their work this semester. So if you can see in this image, the sculpture is Devon's, and then the 2 pieces behind her sculpture on the left of the screen are hers as well, but I have close-ups of those for you. So this is a work, I believe it's entitled All for the Pineapple. This work actually has a lesson plan that is accompanied with it. Again, that's another aspect of this exhibit that's easier to convey in person as opposed to through screen. But since she, like 3 others in this cohort, are working towards their degree in art education, part of their requirements for exhibition include showcasing a work of art that has a lesson plan to go along with it for any future development. Here's another drawing by her that is also on display here in the gallery. And then, of course, that sculpture that's here on display in the gallery as well. Next up, we have Cody DeVine. Cody is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with a 2D concentration. He has 2 paintings for us today. This one is much larger, hanging on the wall, and I believe it's entitled Creature from the Deep. Most of his work has very personal meanings. So again, I encourage you to come by, take a look at this one in person. The size of it alone, I think, really contributes to its overarching meaning. And then this one is titled Suffocation, I believe. Next, we have Emily Donovan, and Emily is on the call with us now. Emily, do you want to jump in and chat about your works a little bit?
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Emily Donovan. I'm double majoring in art and psychology, and I plan to further my studies in art therapy. Through my time at Indiana State University, I have seen how stress can affect people and how difficult school and other outside factors can be for people, especially for those already struggling with their mental health. Witnessing my peers struggling with anxiety, depression, body image, burnout from constant stream of assignments, and so much more for most of their lives has influenced me to join the ongoing mental health awareness movement. And already having an interest in psychology and how humans function in the world, I decided to create a senior project depicting some of the struggles that a lot of college students struggle with. You can move to the first one, Alex. Okay, well, this first piece Um,
Do you want a different one first?
yeah, can I do the the hourglass one first?
Yep. There you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
The first piece depicts anxiety, and the hands are glued together to show that feeling mentally stuck can sometimes transfer to being physically stuck or feeling so overwhelmed that you ignore all of your responsibilities. The gloved hands coming out of the holes in the blue sky show that sometimes these anxious thoughts come out of the blue, and the hourglasses coming from every direction represent the feeling of not having enough time to do anything and not being able to get past that thought. Can you go to the candle one now? Thank you. This piece represents exhaustion. This exhaustion was described to me as burning out like a human candle. Different obligations and responsibilities light the flame and use up everything a person can provide. The smoke turning into birds represents the relief that a person can feel when they can rest peacefully. I'm ready for the next one. This piece is representing self-love. The glowing hands holding the heart in the chest represents that self-love is healthy and a great goal to strive for, but the picture is still dark to represent that it is something that a lot of people struggle and battle with for a long time before they can fully achieve it. I used oil paints on canvas to create these pieces. They're 18 by 24. To get these descriptions, I interviewed different people for each painting and asked them what they feel when experiencing their struggles with mental health. As you may have guessed, a lot of people when first asked couldn't find realistic words to describe the feeling. And when I changed the questioning, or whenever I asked someone how they feel when they're having high anxiety, the response usually was, I don't know, I feel anxious, I don't really know how to describe it. But when I switched the questioning to asking them to describe what they feel is happening to them, even if it's not realistic or rational, I got results that were full of imagery and pictorial descriptions, which is what you're seeing in these paintings. With this project, my hopes were to bring mental health struggles to the front of people's minds and help try to describe how a person's life can be affected with these daily struggles. I also hoped to bring awareness to the benefits of art therapy and the reality that people can have a hard time describing feelings in realistic terms, in that it's sometimes easier to paint a picture to help get across the way that different mental health issues can affect people. Because of the support and encouragement of the instructors throughout my time at Indiana State University, I've been able to sharpen my artistic skills and creative mindset to confidently reach my goals and continue to strive towards more. I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that I've been directed towards here, and I can't wait to seize them all. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the paintings.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was really wonderful. I'm glad we got to hear from you and your take on your own works. It sounds much better whenever it comes from the artist as opposed to me. All right. So now we have Nina, and I know Nina's on the call as well. Nina, if you want to chime in, please just let me know, or if you want to drop something in the chat that you want me to share with everyone, I'm happy to do that as well. Nina is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with a 2D concentration, and I believe she spent a lot of her time in printmaking over her time here at ISU. So this, again, is an installation shot of her works on display here in the gallery. This is an up-close and personal shot with of one of her works called Deserted. Oh, sorry. And her other one is called Mother, and I believe it's for her mother. It's using newspaper and other collage techniques, in addition to some oil pastel, I believe, if I'm getting that right. Nina, correct me if I'm wrong. Up next, we have Dylan Kingery. Dylan is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Art Education. He's one of our 4 art education students showcasing their work this semester. So he has a sculpture as well, and you'll see the sculpture up front in this image, and then his other 2 works on display are in the back on the right of this image, but I'll give you some up-close imagery here. So this one is called Marriage. This, the sculpture is called Moping Melody. And the final image is called Money. And this is the image, it's a watercolor that he included his lesson plan with as well. So again, in art education, you're required to showcase a work of art that also includes a lesson plan with it. And so we do have the lesson plans on display with these works here in the gallery. Next up, we have Jordan Leverens. Jordan is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with a 2D concentration. She has showcased 3 paintings here in the gallery for us. And I'm gonna make sure I get the names correct here. Oops. So this one is entitled Brother, for her own brother. This one is entitled Heather. And if I'm remembering correctly, this one is from the movie Heathers. She was showcasing a character in that film. And the final painting is entitled Billie, and it's depicting Billie Eilish, who I'm gonna guess perhaps most of us might know that name, hopefully. I know I'm starting to age myself out of popular culture, but I do know the name Billie Eilish. Up next, we have Sabirah Muhammad. Sabirah is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with a 2D concentration, focusing primarily in photography. And I know Cassandra Cook is on here, I'm gonna guess, with one of her photography classes. So if Sabirah happens to be in class with you right now, give her a shout out from us here. So up close with Sabirah's images, this is a series entitled Masquerader. The second piece is Masquerader 2. And the big project here with Sabirah was actually the creation of a magazine. Oh, Cassandra's with her drawing students. All right, I understand. But Sabirah's big project this semester was working towards the creation of a magazine that she has definitively titled A Bible for the Black Female Entrepreneur. And giving it that title of Bible, she decided to actually have it on display here in the gallery. I'm going to go back for just a minute to where it looks as though it's on display as if it's a little temple. So she's included a few candles and a setup that allows for the piece to take on that type of temple mentality. So again, this is another work that I highly encourage you to come check out in person. You can't really get the same effect with it through the screen as you do in person. Up next, we have James, and James is here with us today, and I think he's going to talk about his work a little bit. James, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, hello. My name is James Nyer, and I am a Bachelor of Arts with a concentration in intermedia with studies in photography and drawing. And so the artwork I have today centers around a person's inner duality, meaning the ability to feel and express like 2 contrasting aspects. And so in the pieces, I have people expressing different emotions, mentalities, and physical appearances to give off this effect. And the idea behind this was that I wanted to give off like the thought and idea that just from one glance, you can never get everything from just seeing a person. And even after years of exposure with them, you may still never fully understand everything about them. And then I can talk about some of the works individually. So this first one is one I took with film, and then I scanned it in, 2 different film shots, scanned in and then manipulated in Photoshop. And this particular piece is called Simply Black and White or Gray Underneath. meaning that the emotions are very similar, like they're black and white, one's calm and one's anger, but as many emotions, they bleed together to create something new. And then this one is a drawing that I have hung up in the studio, and it is representing a more physical difference. And so this one is titled The Double Lives We Live. And the idea behind this one is that this person is always seen in kind of civilian clothing from day to day. But what a lot of people don't know is that she fights for our country in the military. And then the last one I have up is all digital work, 2 digital shots manipulated together in Photoshop. And this one is called She Seems Bright, but Her World is Blue. She seems blue, but her world is bright. And this one represents a more kind of mental capacity. And this one is kind of like a play on depression, meaning like the girl that looks bright, even though you can see that she looks bright, in her mindset she could still be blue. And the girl that looks blue, she could still see the world as really bright, meaning that you can't always just look at someone and see what they're feeling or what they're going through.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, James. There we go. Now we're all on. James is actually here in the gallery with me right now, so that's why there was a little bit of feedback there, but I think we've got it figured out. That was really wonderful. Again, it's really nice to hear from the students directly about their work. I really appreciate it. Up next, we have William, or Billy Pello. He's graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with an intermedia concentration. And he has showcased 2 paintings in the gallery here this semester. Up first is a piece entitled Finish Line. And these images can't really convey the size of Billy's work. So again, come on in, check them out in person. They're quite large, about 48 inches tall and at least 36 inches wide or so. And Billy's work is pretty personal as well. Talking a lot about himself, working towards the end of his undergraduate career here at ISU, and referencing all the struggles he's experienced throughout life in that endeavor. And his other piece is entitled Man in the Moon. And again, another pop culture reference, this work has a lot to do with Kid Cudi. So if you're familiar with Kid Cudi's work, you might understand the reference to Man in the Moon there. Up next, we have Melanie Roberts, and I believe Melanie is with us here as well. Melanie, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. I'm going to turn it over to you then to talk about your work. You just let me know when you want me to change slides.
You can go ahead and go to the first one. I'll just talk about a little bit each one at a time.
Great.
Okay, so perfect. So thank you all for being here today. I know we all appreciate it, but this first one I have here, we created in our art education class. We had to think of a big theme or big idea, and personally I chose juvenile crime. Last year around this time, our class went to the Juvenile Detention Center in Terre Haute, and I just had such a impactful experience with those kids, and I just wanted to continue working in that area. So I'll talk a little bit about this piece and why I chose to concentrate on it as my big idea. So juvenile crime has been on a 63% decline over the last decade, and you'll see like the word 63% is actually within this work because it's one of the most common misconceptions with juvenile crime that it's on the rise versus on a decline. So this is one of the many fallacies our society has created around children who enter the juvenile detention center system. And I have spent many hours doing outside research and interviewing an array of employees at the Vigo County Detention Center actually to learn and just alter these misconceptions our society has about these kids. I created the repeating words or phrases within this artwork. It's about 10 to 15 different phrases I have throughout this work. And there's words like untreated trauma and brain development, because children's brain development stops after experiencing a really traumatic event in their life, which in turn sometimes goes as untreated trauma. and can look like disruptive behaviors that you'll see with kids who end up in the juvenile detention center themselves. So every time I interviewed someone, I always wanted to ask them if there was something they'd want me to put into my artwork, or just a message to tell the community. What would it be? They said, with the counselors I interviewed, they said there's still hope. So that is why you see there's still hope in bright orange, because they believe that there's still hope for these kids, even though they may have made one mistake. Their family may have even been in the detention center and crime life themselves. That doesn't mean that the future for each of these children has to be the same. It can be different, and just because of that mistake does not mean that their future is corrupt. So that's a little bit about that piece. So we can go on to the next one. So this one's called Industrial Nature. I created this work to show the unbalanced relationship of nature with our industrialized world. I added living grass into the piece to give it a sense of life and color, as well as why I included the illuminating lights you can kind of see in the middle picture there behind the blue resin to represent the glistening water in our world. I rusted the metal to give it a sense of texture of nature, like bark you may see on trees or rocks, that rougher texture on rocks. As the nature in our world is changing, so is the sculpture as you walk around it. So those are all like three different images of the sculpture as you walk around it. And it shows the dominance of industrialization has over our nature, as there's only hints of our beautifully living nature throughout this. And this piece really evolved actually from my original sketch to like what it ended up being. So I've always appreciated and enjoyed this piece, just thinking about where I had started this idea with and how it ended. Okay, then we can go on to the last piece. Okay, this one is called It Was Stolen, So She Flew Away. So this is a print to represent individuals who have had something stolen from them. The roses and doves can be a representation of love being taken away. Doves also represent purity. So the roses could also symbolize the saying, stole my flower, meaning virginity has been taken. This piece symbolizes the individual whose purity has been taken away from them willingly or unwillingly, and has gone with the pure dove. So you can see the dove flying away and the roses in the top right corner. The use of the color red can represent the love that has been lost or the intense feeling of something being taken. So that's a little bit about my work over my time here at ISU. And now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my experience here in the art department at ISU. So I remember being in high school and all of the older students always telling me, you will find a college that feels like home to you. So with that feeling and that knowledge and advice, I set out to find that college that felt like home to me. And after visiting 7 different colleges, I finally found that homey feeling. Yes, I know 7, that's a lot. I was determined to find that feeling. But after 7 different visits, I finally found that homey feeling almost instantly at Indiana State. But little did I know the kind of home I would create in the art department here. So over my years in the art department here, I've grown in many ways. I've been challenged and pushed, yet loved and encouraged. From Nancy always being so kind, but always being so worried I would never get my paintings done because I was such a highly detailed perfectionist, in her words, to Sala, who always with her quirky ways and supporting me in and outside of the classroom with all the other organizations I'm involved with, and Chester, who always sent my stubborn self home when I came to class not feeling well, even though I really wanted to work, or him meeting me before or after class to help finish my sculptures, or just teach me how to frame a print, all because he cares for all of us so much. And of course, Brad. We all know Brad. Brad is Brad and we love him. And I could not trade my last few years with him and my small cohort of future art educators for anything. Brad has brought us all a long way, and I know each and every one of us feel very prepared to begin our journeys as art teachers next fall because of him. We all have him to thank. He provided us with such an irreplaceable experience that has taught us beyond our measures. He has been a great role model for us, and I will always be grateful how much he's taught us to be the best art educator someone could be. As you can see, each of our professors in the art department at Indiana State has left an everlasting impact on our lives in their own ways. They all have helped us grow professionally and personally. I know I will never forget any of them, and maybe I've bothered them enough to never forget me. But if they do, I will always be able to thank ISU's art department for molding me into the artist and future art teacher I will be. I could not be more thrilled to graduate from this program that I have made a home in my last few years. Once again, I just want to thank all of you in the art department for supporting each and every one of us along our own journeys and your dedication to us. You all have taught us so much, and I will always be very grateful, so thank you. And I'd always also like to thank Alexandria for putting on this wonderful show for us and all the other shows she's done for us. Okay, I'm done.
Melanie, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. I know I really appreciate it. And I'm not going to speak for your other professors, but I'm going to guess they're just as touched as I am, if not more. So thank you so much. That was really great. All right, up next, we have Justin Tribble. Justin is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts with a graphic design concentration. And Justin has on display two things right now, a painting and a series of photos on board. And so the painting is entitled A State of No Control. And again, Justin's work is also more personal in nature too, as several others are this semester. And then I took each of the individual photos out and got up close for you all to see here, as opposed to in their triad state. So this is the top image of line, light, line. Here's the middle. And here's the bottom image. Next, we have Hannah Walk. And Hannah is on today, and I believe she's going to speak about her work as well. Hannah, do you want to go ahead and jump in?
Yeah. So my name's Hannah Wong, as she said. I am obtaining a Bachelor's of Art with a specialization in graphic design, and I'm also getting a minor in art history and marketing. I will be graduating in December, and after college, I'm just looking for a chance to work in a position that I can improve my design and marketing skills. I think ISU has prepared me well for entering the job market. We started out learning basic art and design skills as freshmen and sophomores, and I still recognize many of these names that are presenting today who were in those beginner art classes and have branched out into other areas of art besides graphic design. After taking those beginning art classes, I began taking classes that were more specialized in design. Some of those include layout design, web design, problem solving, and even animation and digital art and photography. Finally, my final studio class is my portfolio class, which I'm in right now. And that class has been extremely beneficial to me when it comes to preparing to enter the job market. In that class, we have taken the time to create individual brands for ourselves and then design resumes, cover letters, business cards, leave behinds, and a PDF and web portfolio that are all cohesive with that brand. And we also work on interview skills and practice talking about our pieces with each other and our professor. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide.
Sure. And Hannah, I broke it up to your ACRA pieces and then your print layouts and then finally your portfolio. Just
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect.
So this, and you can kind of flip through them if you would like. This is these were all promotional pieces for ACRA Builders, and I interned there over the summer of 2019 and did all of their marketing and design work. They had just recently rebranded and wanted me to update all of their promotional pieces. So both of these are brochures that the business developer would use to hand out to potential clients to tell them more about ACRA and give them more information and stuff like that to try to get more business. And then these are minimalist designs. This was one of my advanced layout class. We took the time to learn, we took the entire semester to learn all about minimalist design and studied that kind of design. And that was the first time I'd really ever experienced studying a specific kind of design. And so these were made, were not actually made for these companies, obviously, but we used real companies to create projects with to practice. And then this is a PDF version of my portfolio. It's a little booklet if you go into the actual gallery. And it just includes all of my acro pieces, my minimalist design pieces. I worked at the Indiana Statesman as an ad designer and some of my stuff from there, and just different things that I've done, freelance work and in-class work and things like that. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Hannah. And again, you know, this portfolio is much better in person, but because of the online formatting, we did the best we could to get some kind of conveyance to you all as to what's here in the gallery. Thank you, Hannah. That was really wonderful.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Abigail Westman, and I believe Abby is on right now, but I don't know if she's able to talk. Abby, if you want to jump in, just let me know, or if you want to add anything in the chat that you want me to say, that's fine as well. Abby is another one of our Bachelor of Science in Art Education graduates. And her works, so this is actually her piece entitled Synesthesia. It's a painting, and this is her piece that she has her lesson plan with. I personally have a connection to this painting because it references Vasily Kandinsky, and Kandinsky happens to be one of my favorite painters of all time. Okay, hi Abby. Abby's listening in, but she's not able to chime in with us, but we're happy you're here regardless. And then her other piece that she has on display is called Shame. And this is a print, I believe, from earlier last year, if I'm remembering correctly, but I could be wrong about that. And this is framed here in the gallery on display as well, next to her synesthesia piece. So up next, we have Owen A.R. Williams. Owen will be graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art with a 2D concentration, and Owen has on display 2 videos that he has created, as well as a print piece. Now I'm going to make sure I've got my titles here. So the print piece is entitled Brothers. One of his videos is entitled Schism. And both of these videos do have sound. Schism actually has voiceover by Owen himself in the video. So definitely come in and check that out. And his other video is entitled Tranquility. It's very soothing here in the gallery to be able to listen to this one every day. It very much takes on its title of Tranquility. Again, these are just stills from the videos. And last but not least, we have Regan Zerwig. So Regan, before you talk, I just want to point out that Regan actually graduated in May. However, because of COVID and the pandemic, we weren't able to have an actual installation of all of the spring 2020 graduates. So we offered to have them have the opportunity to put their work on display this fall. And Regan was one of the students who wanted to do that. So Regan, I'm going to turn it over to you for you to talk about your work. You just let me know when you want me to switch over slides.
Hey, yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. I just first want to thank you all for taking the time out of your evening to jump onto this reception. Although it's not traditional, our works are still just as important, so it means a lot to have all of your support. I did recently graduate with my Bachelor of Arts last spring with a couple minors in interior architecture design and entrepreneurship, and I just couldn't get enough of school, so I decided to pursue my master's here at Indiana State, and I will almost have completed my first semester come December. So that's very exciting. I'm excited to keep on moving in the fine arts world. So today I want to just talk a little bit about my 3 pieces in the gallery. And and where some of my inspiration comes from. So mine has a little bit of history to it. I'm mostly inspired as an artist by my dad and my grandfather. They both worked on a farm, and then my grandpa had a long career as a carpenter, and so he did a lot of woodworking. And then my father, he kind of picked up some of those skills and started to make bowls out of wood, and he also builds furniture to this day too. Um, he also has a full-time job, but he loves doing that as a hobby. So it's been really fun to work alongside him and grow with him in those areas of furniture design and furniture making. So you can move on to the next slide if you'd like. Um, so because of my family's history and my past experiences, I aspire to be like them and grow in that field. So throughout my education, I have studied heavily geometry, architecture, and design, and I've been inspired by many forms and various structures. So my artwork consists of some abstract and functional ceramics, wood and metal sculptures, and also furniture. So I really try to push the forms generally thought of as architectural and geometric. So I want to rediscover these forms and ideas as they relate to art. So here in this set is the architectural form group that I made out of ceramics. And so they focus on architectural elements and basic geometric shapes because of my connection to the spaces and places around me, which represent architectural experiences and the reflection of my history. So you can see the building-like figures and the exploration of negative space with the circle and the square cutouts, as well as use of line and shape and scale, light and shadow. And so I showcase these skills through developing the beauty inherent in experimental geometry, precise measurements, and the exploration of figure and form. You can go ahead and change the next slide. And this is my geometric pyramid, which is made out of steel. Here I've also explored many of the concepts that I've recently touched on, basic pyramidal shapes that were combined to make a repetitive pattern with use of texture and finish. So you can see the steel grate on one side and then the full metal slab of steel on the other sides. And so essentially these were cut triangles from one big slab of steel and welded together and then finished out with a grinder. And then I made a concoction that rusted the pyramid over time. So it even looks different in this photo than it does in the gallery. In the gallery now it's even more rusted and there's a little bit of more orange color tint to it. And the purpose of that is to show that architecture, metals, they change over time. They change color. The chemistry behind, the science behind it actually transforms forms and shapes and buildings as time goes by. So, and then you can go to my last slide. This is my pair of chairs, and I've combined all of the concepts that I have discussed into an actual functional and usable piece of furniture. And so these two chairs are kind of emotional for me because I stopped and started on them through the pandemic. And so when I finally finished them, I could almost cry because it was just this huge sense of accomplishment and relief that kind of washed over me. And so I had designed and produced these pieces of furniture with help from Chester in the sculpture department, and I'm sure he challenged me, and I'm sure I challenged him with these chairs. It was such a long process. All of the mathematical configurations, the problem solving, just lots of trials and tribulations with these chairs. But ultimately, they are pieces that have set me up for my future and the direction in which I want to go with, furniture design and sculpture. So I've had a lot of help and a lot of mentors along the way as an undergraduate, and a lot of them are in the art and design department, but a lot of them were also outside of the art and design department. So I have a lot of people to thank for my journey as an undergraduate along the way, including Alex and Chester, Kira. Most of them are not here today, but I see them every day, and I am really thankful for their mentorship and guidance along my way. So thank you all again, and I hope you get to go in and see the show in person. Everything has quite its own story when you see it in person, so thank you.
Thank you, Reagan. That was really beautiful. I'm glad we got to hear from you today. And I think it was a good way to, bookend our talk today and all of the seniors, being that you were one of the ones who moved from graduating undergrad, and now you're underway in your MFA career as well and continuing in your work. Hi, Hilda and Fred from the SWOPE are on the call. I'm so glad you guys were able to join us. Thank you guys.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Yay. Good, I'm glad. So just to finish up here, I took a few images to kind of walk through the gallery. Again, it's not wonderful. I am by no means a photographer, but we are doing our best here. And so I just wanted to end with a quick walk through the gallery. And I'm also happy to stay on if somebody wants me to walk around with the computer. I'm more than happy to do that as well. And as I said at the beginning, if anybody would like to see everything in person but doesn't feel quite comfortable coming in person, if you want to do a personal virtual tour with me or with one of our gallery staff, we're more than happy to accommodate that. Just reach out to me, let me know. We'll set up a time. We'll get a Zoom set up and we'll get you going. So again, as we walk through the space here, you can see a little bit how the space is laid out. In picture format. And that's all we have for today. So again, check out our website. All of the work by each of the students is on the website as well, along with their statements explaining their work in a bit more detail. So I encourage you to check that out there. That will stay on our website in perpetuity as far as we know. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We've recently revived our Facebook and Instagram, so definitely go check those out. We're ISU Art Gallery. And I hope everyone is able to stop by the gallery sometime before everything closes up next Friday. I'm happy to see you all here today. Thank you so much to all the graduates, especially to those who were able to join us and to those who were able to speak about their own work today. You guys did a great job. I'm honored to have worked with each and every one of you. And I look forward to seeing you all one last time whenever you pick up your works next week. Thank you all.